One of the things that we're really focused on is creating like instantly reservable truck parking throughout the US, where our truckers have the ability to know that there's 7 spaces available at this location, and that if they want to book 7 or less spaces, they can get those right now. Like not in 2 hours, like now. I'm Evan Shelley, co-founder and CEO of Truck Parking Club, and you are now watching Truck and Hustle.
All right, Hustle fam. We are back with another amazing episode. And today we're going to talk about a very important topic. We're going to talk about truck parking. I am with my friend, Mr. Evan Shelley from Truck Parking Club or Truck Park Club. Which one is it?
Truck Parking Club.
Truck Parking Club. You guys are a web-based, app-based platform.
Yes. So we're web-based, but we have an app dropping like any day. I wish it was done before this. But
okay.
Yeah, any day.
Coming soon.
iOS, Android.
So by the time that this is airing, more than likely you'll be able to download the app.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And you guys are solving the problem of truck parking, right?
We're helping solve the problem.
Okay, not completely solving it, but helping. So I think we were talking before the show, and I was saying how I believe the ATA rated truck parking as the number 3 or the number 4 biggest problem to carriers. Is that correct?
Yeah, I know it's typically top 3 or 4.
Top 3 or 4
for every association.
Got it. So not just ATA, every association. So, and truly important topic. So we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about the business. We're going to talk about your origin story, how you got started in this business, and then most importantly, why. Like, what are you doing? How are you doing it, and so forth, and how it could help the audience, right? So first, let's kind of start with your story, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself. You seem like a pretty young guy, man. How did you get into this business?
Yeah, I don't have the story of like, I was always selling things when I was 8 years old or anything like that.
You're not one of those baseball card guys?
No, I just never was doing anything like that, but I did always want to make my own money. I wasn't like hustling, selling things as much, but I was like mowing yards. I would do stuff like that. And also I golfed from a very young age through college. And I would make some money that way too when I was young, just hustling around that way. But I was never like a salesman type, flipping baseball cards.
Where are you from? Where are you born?
Kentucky.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. I grew up.
For those who don't know, we're actually in Kentucky.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
What part?
South Central Kentucky, in a small town that no one's ever heard of.
Is that anything like South Central LA? Because that's all I'm familiar with.
I'm not familiar with South Central LA.
You've heard of South Central LA?
I've heard of it, yeah, but I can't speak on it.
Okay.
I've never been.
So how many people are in South Central Kentucky? What's population?
The town's like 3,000 people.
Small place.
So yeah, small town. It was a good place to grow up, but you can only go so far. The opportunities at some point, we're in, Kentucky's not known for being one of the richest states, and then we're in one of the poor counties in the state. So at some point, the opportunities, if you really want to do something big, it's hard to do it there. I mean, we have had people that have done really cool things from my town, but it's tough.
What kind of kid were you? Good kid. Bad.
I was a little. I would say, when I was younger, like elementary to middle school, very straight-laced, reading Harry Potter books type thing. Yeah, I swear to God, yeah.
Okay.
And then, but then I got into high school, and I don't know, I guess it was just like puberty or something. I went crazy.
Right,
like,
you started rebelling a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't listen to anybody about anything.
Maybe the girls, man, that's what it is. It's the girls.
Yeah, 110% of it was the girls. Yeah.
The girls, they're the motivating factor for everything.
And I knew everything. I was so smart then.
For
sure. I was so smart. Yeah, I was, and I just made a lot of silly decisions, but yeah, just girls and, just trying to be cool and drinking and, but that I learned a lot of lessons early.
Got it.
Yeah.
Did you go to college?
I did. I went in Lexington.
Okay.
I got actually recruited for golf. One of the only schools that recruited me just randomly, and got to go there and play golf at a school called Transylvania University. It's a little private school. Would have never went to that school if I hadn't got recruited, but got recruited, got an academic scholarship, and then finished up an engineering degree at University of Kentucky.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. So you get your degree in engineering. What do you do after you leave college?
So I had actually always been kind of buying real estate through, obviously I didn't have much money, but I always knew people that were doing deals.
Okay.
And so even through college, I found a house that I thought was a good deal. So I found a partner, and then I bought a house with him, and then we just kept buying more and more houses. So my point of this is I got out of college and I thought I was going to the corporate world, and I went and worked. Yeah, to work in construction, really, which is a lot of civil engineers end up going into construction, and worked for a great company called Great Construction, great people, family company that grew up, the family actually grew up in an area very close to mine. Great company, but then I just felt like something was missing. And then I went on to work for a couple other good companies in Florida, but I knew I was kind of miserable because I wanted to go out and make my own money again,
Right.
So I
had that entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was at the time. And like I said, I was buying real estate and stuff, but I never thought of that as like entrepreneurial. I was just like, I think that's a good deal, so I want to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I never really used that word ever.
Got it.
But I knew something was missing when I kept working for good companies, but I was working around good people, but I was just miserable. I was like looking 5-10 years in my future, and I was like, my growth, like I wasn't growing how I wanted to.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like, an organic thing where I was just like, I saved up some money, and I said, I was actually flipping houses on the side when I was working for these other companies, and got a little bit of momentum, had some money saved, and just said, I'm going for it. And I burnt the bridges because I had a little bit of momentum, but I didn't have a ton, and I had this money saved, and every single month this money was being spent on my deals, was being spent on just cost of living. So I saw this money like getting smaller and smaller, and put a lot of pressure on me. But that pressure actually, like, this is like 2018.
Okay.
That about a year out of college, and that pressure kind of made me the person I am. Like, okay. And since then, I've never taken a salary from anyone.
Got it. All right. I love that. So you said you're going for it. Now, when you say it, were you talking about the real estate, or you talking about another business venture?
The real estate.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was flipping out. I mean,
got it. Were you making good money?
I mean, I would say you work.
And that's a relative statement, right?
Yeah.
What's good money?
You work extremely hard to make six figures.
Okay.
I mean, you work so hard. Like, I just remember like grinding, and then you have, maybe you have a deal where you're expecting to make 20K and it just falls through. And then you're just like, what the fuck?
Where were you finding your houses? Like sheriff sales or foreclosures, or what were you doing?
I was doing a lot of like the marketing methods that I guess people are kind of still doing now, is just like sending letters, like cold calling,
so you were wholesaling?
Messages. I would do wholesale deals, and I would flip houses.
Okay.
I would do a little bit of both. In the beginning, it was all wholesale.
Got it.
I got a little bit of money, and then found the right partners, and we started flipping a bunch of houses.
Okay.
Like when COVID started, I was still flipping some houses. I had like 5 houses then.
Okay.
And then, that was kind of my thing that took me from like the corporate world into, running your own business and really managing risk, I would say, which ended up being very lucrative, which I'm very thankful for. It was a hot real estate market, and we were able to get out of deals while it was still hot. And then, it just kind of rolls into what I'm doing now.
Truck and Hustle Fam, I'm coming to you with an exclusive deal just for you. Call 800-991-6251 to get 10% off on your first purchase.
Okay. Talk to me about that transition. How'd that happen? Truck parking club.
So I was doing a land deal in 2021, and it was an industrial deal that I thought I could do apartments on.
Okay.
So it's like the same stuff, right? You take something that you think is worth less in with that zoning, and I was going to rezone it. And I ended up thinking, which was not true at the time, but I ended up thinking that I couldn't do apartments, that I wasn't going to get it done. And I looked at it for truck parking. So you've got this 10-acre property.
Why'd you think truck parking?
The same thing I was doing in like that first deal I mentioned. I was just calling people because I was like kind of stuck, and I had this deal under contract, and I was like, man, if I can figure out, I'd like to like, this is a really cool area. I'd like to see if I could develop it myself. So I was like calling people like, you know, like as someone like that isn't depending on anyone else for salary, and you're out here just like doing these large real estate deals, like you're not always right. And when you don't know the answer, you just start calling the smartest people you know, and you're just like, hey, I have this thing. What I thought I could do with it isn't what I could do. You know, I got money involved here. Like you get really motivated when you've got 50 grand in between you and like.
So somebody told you about the truck parking idea. They said there's an opportunity
I talked to somebody
in truck parking.
Yeah, I talked to somebody.
Okay.
And I can't even remember. And then I talked to another person. They said the same thing. It was like, there's a lot of money in this stuff. And there's like a huge need for this stuff. So I called that municipality. I think it was like City of Orlando. And I was just like, hey, I want to do truck parking here. So just start talking to the city staff, and they're like, yeah, it's zoned industrial, but we're not going to let you do truck parking. I was like, what do you mean it's zoned industrial? And this is like a no-brainer. They're like, no. Like there's a shopping center down the street, like whatever. Like you're never going to get this through. And then that's when I was just like, something's weird here. Like why? And then you start realizing like nobody wants truck parking. Like for the most part.
And this is important because I think a lot of people think that they could just buy land and have a truck parking space.
Yeah.
So this is an important conversation, right?
Yeah, I learned that.
All right.
As well.
So we'll continue the story.
Yeah. So like in that scenario, couldn't do truck parking there. And I was like, well, if it's so hard to build, like what's going on with the actual people renting this truck parking? Like if everyone's telling me they're like, if you can find a property to do truck parking on, it's going to fill up. Like what's going on with the rest of like that niche? And that kind of got me looking like you got truckers saying they can't find parking. You have real estate people that own the truck parking saying it's a great business. And I'm like, well, I'm a real estate guy. Like I'm just going to go buy a bunch of truck parking. That's the obvious thing for me to do, just real estate. And what I realized, I went and raised some equity, and that's actually how I got to know Keith. It was like I went and talked to him.
Keith is off the camera right now, but he's somewhere looking pretty over there in the corner.
I actually went to talk to him in like 2021. I was like, you know, we see what you're doing in truck parking, and just got to know him, and you know,
this is a guy who's already established in the business.
Yeah, it's like kind of what I do with everything. I just get near people that know a lot more than me. And explored the space, got to know Keith. He was telling me about what he was seeing, and it was kind of confirming everything that I was saying. And I was like, this is just a great industry to be in. And I looked at it as a real estate investment, but what I realized very quickly was in a very hot real estate market, it was incredibly difficult to find deals that made any sense. Like that you could feel confident that you would get a good return with. So I raised some equity and never did a deal. I saw some deals that were okay, but then—
How'd you raise equity?
Just through connections of doing my land deals.
Okay.
Yeah, I was doing
went back to your old network.
I was doing some deals with some guys, some land deals with some guys, and I sat down with one of the guys and I just said, I think this is a huge opportunity. And he was a guy to New York City, and he's like, yeah, put me in.
How much were you able to raise?
It was 25.
25?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you know, it's cool if you can allocate it, but I genuinely looked at hundreds of deals, and the ones that did pencil with a good return was like up against a residential like community where it's like a few complaints and they'll shut you down.
Right.
So yeah, I never allocated that capital, but still was going to like tons of networking events, conferences, FreightWaves conferences, where I got to know like Craig Fuller, who became, you know, ended up becoming an advisor to me and the company. And
shout out to Craig. He flies airplanes now. I don't even think he does trucking anymore.
Man, he's just he's all making all the right moves.
Yeah, he's doing some good things.
Man,
good things out there.
Yeah, and the family. They just did that. They just sold the U.S. Express. That was incredible.
Yeah.
Max, he's such a nice guy, so down to earth. But yeah, just stayed in and around the space. Like I went to a conference like early 2022 and like honestly didn't even know, like have a direct reason to be there. Like, but I was like, there's so much opportunity like in truck parking, and not only truck parking, logistics as a whole. I just want to be around these people and like talk. And the relationships that came from those, like what may appear to be like aimless conferences, like were relationships that I still have today that mean everything to me.
Extremely important to get in the room and get in the conferences.
Yeah.
Shameless plug. Make sure everybody's at Freight Fest in September 20th through October 1st. I know you'll be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Just had to put that out there.
Yeah,
got to get in the room.
No, yeah, I'm telling you, like people underestimate what like networking really is. Networking has done everything for me. My relationships that I've gained through calling someone's cell phone that I just saw on CNBC. Like, I'll just call you. I'll see somebody on CNBC and call their cell phone.
Yeah.
And just leave them a very thoughtful voicemail about here's what I'm doing. I saw you on CNBC. I really like what you're saying. I think we could do something together. And you'd be surprised how many people will call you back.
You just don't care.
No, I don't care.
You gotta be a little bit crazy to do that. You know,
yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure. For sure.
Everybody doesn't have that in them.
Yeah. But I would also say, like, you got to think, like, 2018, I went out on my own with very little prospects and flipping houses. I had nothing to lean on. And how I got through those periods where I really didn't have, like, much money at all, like, just getting by, like, was just doing whatever it took.
Right.
Whatever. It doesn't, I mean, you work 48 hours straight. You don't go to sleep because you got to make rent. You got to pay your rent. Like, there was points and times where I was, like, there was a point in time in, like, 2018 where my car was probably worth $3,000 or $4,000. And I thought I was going to have to sell it to pay my rent and keep marketing for my real estate business. And you think, what? You even really have a business at that point?
Right.
But then the next week I made like 20, or not the next week, the next month, getting through that period of time, I made like 20 grand on a deal. And that kept me going.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like I saw where the trail of money ended. And the reason I made it to that next deal was, yeah, you just do whatever. And that's, if you keep that mentality, like calling someone you see on CNBC, it's the same mentality. Like do whatever it takes because you have a dream, like you have a desire to like do something great.
I love that. That's dope. That's dope. All right, cool. So you get some capital, you raise some capital, but you still never buy a truck parking spot, right?
No, never do anything with the capital. So,
but you still know it's a big opportunity. So you start networking, you start going around to conferences because you're interested in this space.
Yeah.
Talk to me. What happens?
Yeah, so from there, just keep talking to people. And then, you know, from the relationships I had made with truck parking and having people just genuinely reach out. It's pretty interesting. I had a kid with like a little car parking company, like reach out to me. Actually, I'll back up on that just a little bit. I was talking to a friend of mine that we got to know each other in like 2019, and we were both just like young entrepreneurs that didn't know what we were doing, and we would like see each other. I'm like, how much are you working? He's like, all the time. I was like, you made any money yet? He's like, not really. And like I would have the same story for him.
Right.
But he was in tech, and I went to tech events, and I had no reason to be there either, but I got to know this guy, and we're still friends to this day. And he had just raised like 12 million for Metaverse in 2021, and he's now building this really cool Metaverse, which is amazing from where we were in 2019. But we were having like a lunch at like this Thai place, and like celebrating his successes. And he was like, "So what are you working on now?" I was like, "Well, I'm in this truck parking thing. I think there's a huge opportunity here. I'm trying to buy real estate." He's like, "Buy real estate?" He's like, "There's space right over there in this other parking lot. Why don't you just use technology and like monetize that?" I was like, "Nah." I swear to God. I swear to God. He said that at lunch, and I was like, "Nah." I was like, "Nah, I don't think I want to own the real estate," because that was who I, was.
You come from that.
I'm like real.
Yeah.
Real.
Right. Tangible.
Yeah. I was never a tech person, and like whatever. And then a few months later, this guy hits me out of the blue with like this little car parking company. He's like, yeah, I pretty much have some software for it. He's like, you want to park trucks using my software? I was like, yeah, I think that's interesting. And I was still doing my real estate deals. And there was just like no execution on like both of our sides. And we were like trying to do these little deals and stuff. And just nothing happening for like months and months and months. And he called me up one day. He's like, man, like I know we were like going to do this on our own. We're not really like getting anywhere. He's like, I'm going to just do it on my own. And that was like back mid last year. And he like, I never talked to him again. And we were like working on this thing together and we literally never talked again. It was bizarre.
Okay.
I have no idea what that kid's doing now, but I knew Keith and I was like, hey, I was like working on this idea with this guy for a few months, but he like ditched me. And I was like, what do you think about what I'm working on? And I knew there was companies out there that had kind of already done what we were doing, what we were wanting to do. And I told Keith, and he's like, yeah, I started that like 3 years ago. He's like, I've already been working on that. But he was like, we just kind of
on the tech side as well.
Yeah, with the essentially with creating the ability to like book parking spaces online with various different owners, essentially,
right.
Which we then kind of turned into terming it a two-sided marketplace, which is like an Airbnb of sorts. But Keith is like, yeah, I pretty much had the same idea like 3 or 4 years ago, and there's this other person that's done it, and there's this other person that's done it. And I was like, oh yeah, gotcha. I was like, why don't you let me pick that back up? Because I was doing it with this other kid and he ditched me, and let me pick that back up because I want to give this thing a shot. I think there's something really here. I think there's something very special here. And we made a deal. We made an agreement, and kind of the rest is history. But that's kind of how the buildup. It was just, honestly, it was just disappointment that the other guy ditched me. I mean, that was a lot of it. He just like called me up out of the blue. And I was like, what do you mean you don't want to work with me? I was like, you don't want to work with me? Like your confidence is like killed.
For sure.
But it was that same feeling, I think, that got me to like call Keith up and be like, hey, I want to like, this thing seems interesting to me. Like, I want to do this. And, Keith and I, at that point, Keith and I had known each other over a year, I guess. And, yeah, we made an agreement and then put it together.
Making sure that your compliance is on point is an integral part of any trucking related business. Today, I stopped by my friends over at FleetDRIVE 360 to talk about what they're building to make sure that you can run a successful trucking company.
And it's everything from the minute you decide you want to hire somebody through maintaining all of your FMCSA compliance documents for ongoing fleet or owner-operator truck business. You've got a driver hiring and recruiting module where you'll create driver qualification files, import digital documents. You've got a drug and alcohol module where you can schedule pre-employment drug tests and manage an ongoing testing pool. We've got an accident registry so you can keep your mandated accident logs and even schedule follow-up drug testing for post-crash. We've got vehicle maintenance logs so you can not only maintain the compliance status of your vehicles, but also upload your work orders and compliance related documents so you're audit ready when they come in. We've got a document repository, fancy words for digital cloud storage of any document that you want, not just necessarily the compliance documents, anything related to your business, post-crash videos, performance evaluations. And then finally, you've got the dashboard. And the dashboard's the most important part. You can close your eyes and glance at our dashboard, open them, glance at the dashboard, and immediately know whether or not you're compliant or not, both on a driver, company, and vehicle level.
It's one-stop shop for all your compliance needs.
So talk to me about actually building the product. Like, so what went into that? Was there a product already built? Like the development side of it? Like, talk to me about that journey.
Yeah. So, I've built enough businesses at this point that weren't really leveraging technology, but I knew the basics of business and like how the difficulties of business as well. And just also seeing some of my tech friends like start businesses, I realized like just get to market and figure out what the customer wants. Like put something out there that you think the customer wants and then let the customer tell you what they actually want. So in November of like last year, I went through like this horrible breakup. Like, I know this sounds crazy, but I think some people out there will relate to this. So I went to this like crazy breakup with this chick that I was so in love with, and I was crazy about her, and to a fault, obviously, to a fault.
It's all good, man. It happens to all of us, man.
Yeah, but and I never get that way. Like maybe two other chicks, like in the entirety of me dating people, and I took all that like negative, like emotions and just like put it into work. And like I built the first MVP for this company myself with no tech background. I essentially figured out that you have these codeless platforms, and with like very little coding, you can essentially like build whatever you want.
Right. No code.
The hard part is just like figuring out the systems. Like I just did it myself, like sitting in a fucking room just for days on end.
That was a well-placed curse, by the way. You see that?
I didn't even realize I did it.
It worked. See? You guys didn't even hear that. Go ahead.
Yeah. But yeah, I just sat there and through that, like, that pain that I was going through mentally and emotionally, like, just put it into this. And it was just like weeks on end of just like me sitting behind a computer doing this thing. And like, I put it together relatively quickly, put it out to market, launched, and almost immediately had these like an insane amount of response, even with like this very simple platform that I created myself. And it was at that point where we're like, okay, let's actually do this.
How did you get that response? You build this no code platform, so it's not extremely, sophisticated,
Not
right?
at all.
Simple.
Yeah.
But you have a response. So where are you putting it out? Who's responding? What are they saying? What happens?
Yeah. So, I leverage one of my very good connections, Craig Fuller with FreightWaves. And I say, we had been talking about this for, I guess, since November. I was like, Craig, I'm dead serious about this thing. Because Craig and I had been friends over a year at this point, and he just kept answering my calls. I don't know why, but he would just like saw how hungry I was to like do something.
Got it.
In truck parking specifically. And I was talking to him all through November. He's like, yeah, just get it out there, man. Just like create something, get it out there. And then I got the MVP done in December. And I sent it to him. I was like, what do you think? He's like, I love it. It's perfect for an MVP. Just run it. And so we do like a little like launch article in FreightWaves.
Got it.
And it was bizarre how much response we got from this one article, where I was like, I told Keith, I was like, I think we got something here.
Now let me ask you a question. Who is responding to you? Because just me kind of understanding the landscape, maybe a lot of small carriers, are they reading these articles? Are the carriers responding to you? Or is it more so like large C-suite people responding, saying, hey, we need truck parking for our 1,000 trucks. What you got going on? Who's reaching out?
Yeah. So in the beginning, it was actually, so we got the two-sided marketplace, right? So we had a bunch of property owners uploading properties almost immediately all across the U.S.
Okay.
And I was like, holy shit. Like
property owners with just space.
Yeah.
Okay. Like the land.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But, people that actually had truck parking spaces, but maybe not truck parking operators. And I was like, wow. Like I created this codeless platform. Like,
and they're reading FreightWaves? How are these people?
Trucking companies.
Okay, trucking companies with space.
That had spaces.
Got it. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
I think our first one or two listings were trucking companies. Yeah, they were trucking companies that just had
unutilized space.
Underutilized space, 5 extra spaces, and they put it on the platform. I'm like, I'd never talked to these people. Like, I was used to a business where you had to talk to someone 10 times before they ever did any business with you. These people just came to my platform that I put together, uploaded their property. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I think we got the first listing outside of Keith's properties. It's like, Keith, we just got a property in Chicago. I was like, that's crazy.
Now they were able to actually go on the platform and list it themselves.
They do it themselves.
Got it.
That's the thing. We do not, like, it's pretty frictionless. Like they come on the platform and create their listing. Now, there's various ways that you verify.
I was going to say, how do you vet the listing?
Yeah. So there are, payment processors verify their identity. And then internally you come in and then you have these processes that you look through. Like, is this person actually the property owner on record? Like, there's all these forms of vetting that you want to do.
Right.
So they can't just like, it's not Craigslist where you just like press enter and it just like pops up.
Right.
We do, identity verification and then also internal vetting. But these people trusted this new brand so kind of openly, and I was just like, we could scale this like really quickly. And that was, kind of the beginning of like, okay, like I'm all in, like where I'm just whatever it takes.
Right.
And then from there, your original question was like, is it larger carriers or just like owner operators? And, our first bookings were just these owner operators that needed parking and just found us on Google because we weren't marketing. Like that first launch, we had no marketing going out because honestly, I was like not super, confident in my codeless platform.
Right.
I was just like,
you wanted to break or something
yeah,
like that.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, let's just get, a little bit of flow here and like see how it goes. And so we weren't marketing. We just did the one article, got some listings and then started getting bookings. I was like, what the heck is going on
So it
here?
worked right away.
It was, over a course,
a couple people just kind of.
With no marketing. People like, I think our first booking like found us on Google somehow. I'm like,
it.
How are you booking? Like, we're not doing any marketing except this one article, but they found us.
What challenges did you have in the beginning? I know it couldn't have been seamless.
Yeah. Oh, it's not seamless at all. I think I just talk about the things that like the surprises, like you don't really remember the fact that there was silence for weeks, but I think in the beginning, it's like rolling out a product that isn't, from a technical standpoint, isn't great. Like you just know, like I just knew, like the technical, like from a technical side, it was not good. It was buggy. It was like had plenty of issues. So it was just kind of like scary to even like roll it out. But then I realized like nobody cares. Like even the best websites on earth with hundreds, thousands of developers, like still have these little bugs and things that don't let the platform work perfectly. So that was just, I guess, internal like beliefs, but
from a user standpoint, that's more so what I'm talking about, right? Like obviously you'll get in your own head because it can be better. Yeah. But from a user standpoint, was there any friction or any issues that happened initially?
There, like one of our first bookings, the person called us and was like, "This looked a little sketchy." I was like, she's like, I went ahead and paid, but it looked a little sketchy. I was like, yeah, we're still a newer company,
right?
But like you're good to go. Like, yeah, your space is booked, I promise.
Right.
But it was just like no brand recognition, like no like the website's like not perfect. Your branding isn't perfect. You don't really have any reviews. Like you don't have any like people Google your company and like barely anything comes up. Right. So it's like those like barriers to entry to like growing the company, just users trusting the platform.
Got it.
But also then some, those early adopter people that would just gave it a shot. And like, you're like, I think forever grateful for people like that just give something a shot to get those initial customers and initial bookings. But yeah, I think just users being skeptical, like, and then just doing whatever it takes to deliver. Like when things don't go right, like we're super customer centric. Like
I was going to ask about that, about support.
Insanely. Like we'll do whatever. If something doesn't go right, like we are correcting the issue immediately. Like, because that's how I would want to be dealt with. Like,
for sure.
Yeah.
Talk about the actual platform. How does it work? What's the user experience? They go on there from both sides. Like, just give us an idea how things work.
Yeah. So, from a listing standpoint, which we call property members, truck parking club property members, essentially it's as simple as going on and putting your location, a description of your property, a little bit about yourself. We're kind of creating a community. If you go on Truck Parking Club, you'll see some of the property members will like give their own little bio, like, you know, like trucking company owner or entrepreneur, father, you know, trucking company owner. It's just like, and put their photos
Like
and
a
all kinds of
profile.
stuff. Yeah, which we really wanted to encourage, and we continue to encourage. But they'll, you know, just all the basic things, put their location, description of their property. And then the biggest thing, which we like are adamant about, is like just decent photos, you know, just like photo of the front of your property, business facing, like maybe you know, an aerial or drone video, stuff like that. Just, we really encourage that, because you think like, what Airbnbs sell best? Like the ones with the best photos.
Right.
It's not the exact same concept, right? But it also, like, no one enjoys booking anything with no photos.
For sure.
You know,
For
so, but yeah, so for property members, you know, it's like a 10-minute process, just uploading that information and then getting verified over Stripe. And then like at this point, we actually try to talk with every single person, every single property member before approving them, and talking with them about what are their thoughts, you know, what, you know, are there concerns? Do we have concerns about their property? Are there things that, you know, because this is truck parking. This is not like walk in the park, right?
Yeah.
So there are very real things that you have to consider here. Like Keith and I were talking about it earlier, like looking at property is that if you got a 1-lane road in and you think you're going to put truck parking there, like we're going to, like when we internally vet you, we're going to have a very serious conversation about like, I don't know if this is actually going to be a great fit
work.
because, you know, not only does it logistically not make sense, but also like you, like you're the property member and the property owner in itself, you're going to have a really big headache when you got trucks like colliding on the 1-lane road here. So those types of things, just internally vetting them. But for the most part, it's a very simple process. Like I said, 10 minutes, something like that.
And I'm sure they list like the availability of the spaces as well.
Exactly, yeah. So
Okay.
anywhere from 1 space to, we have people that have 200 spaces on the platform, and all of them are instantly reservable.
Do they name their price, or do you guys do like some kind of guidance in that?
So they put whatever price they want to put, and we make light suggestions, and then capitalism
Market in the area.
Capitalism kind of takes over. Like,
What do you mean by that?
If your price is too high, no one books. And as you lower your price, I can guarantee you will get more bookings. And what we see is like people will go way high on price, and then when they don't get any bookings, you just see the price start to trickle down and down and down, because I don't know, you know, people just try to like, you're just trying to make the most for your property, and I totally get it. And then you realize if you're not getting bookings, then maybe it's a price issue, or maybe it's a location issue. But we just make suggestions on price. Like, here's what we're kind of seeing in your area, and you're way high or you're way low, because we see it low too.
Yeah.
We have people that are like going way low, and I'm like, you could probably go up based on the price in the area. And then they're like, I just want to fill it up. So we let them.
You guys have those conversations with them if you see something like that, or is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We are here live at OTR Solutions HQ. I'm here with my partner, Jonathan. Man, listen, factoring is an integral part of the transportation industry. Why is factoring important?
Absolutely, Rahmel. In this economy, in this market, cash flow is king. Cash flow is the key to growth. If you have a young trucking company, or if you've been in the industry for years and you want to take that business to the next level, we're absolutely a company that can help. You know, we're a factoring provider that was born in trucking. So that's all we do. We focus, live, breathe the trucking industry. We offer fuel card solutions, freight through our partners at DAT, insurance, really any need that you have, we should have a solution to help you with it. So I hope you'll give us a call today. Let us know what we can do to help you out.
Get the rest and roll with the best. Let's go. What's the like median price like per space like that you pretty much see out there?
$20, $25. It's just very industry standard.
Okay.
But we have people that are 8 and 10 a day. And then on a monthly basis, we have people from 75 all the way up to, I think, 450 is the highest on our platform right now.
Okay.
And
Why would the price be 450? What's special about that location?
Chicago, Port of LA, Ontario, which is just outside. These very, I mean, dense areas for trucking. You'll see. I mean, you'll see. We're getting locations in Port Newark right now, and it's bananas. Like, I mean, 700 a month, 800, 900, 1,000 a month. But there's literally nowhere to park.
Right.
But also, like, a lot of those places are like, except for containers, which we're not really doing, but most of those are like 1 day in, 1 day out.
Why aren't you doing containers?
It's just not something we've ever really like looked
Explored?
at. Like, yeah, and like I really like staying very focused on truck parking. There's a huge market there. That's what we want to be known for. That's what we cater to. That's everything in our platform. That's what it really thinks about. So that we're just what I've learned from like other businesses is just hyper focused. Just
Got it.
Very focused, very clear about what we do. Not, we're not gonna go start like doing some little side thing. Like just not. I've done that with other businesses, and on this one we have a very clear goal and like.
Understood.
Yeah.
What's the carrier experience like? What do they? How do they navigate the app?
You're by carrier. You're just saying like someone
Like
over
a
certain
owner
size.
operator or whatever. Like if it's an individual driver looking for parking or a company looking for driving.
Yeah.
For parking rather. How do they?
Yeah, just any user on the trucker side. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's been very interesting because I think what we're seeing is we like almost every customer, we're like pinging them for feedback. Like, hey, what did you think about the checkout process for our new customers? And some of them answer, some of them don't. I get it. I don't like really giving reviews or feedback either. But for the people that do, it's like really great. And for the most part, people are like, it was simple. It was easy. And we time people on how long it takes them to check out from the time they create an account.
Yeah.
It's like 2 to 3 minutes on average.
Got it.
So it's like people are getting through it with really no problems. And we just try to make it as simple as possible. Like we don't want any friction in that process. And so when people make suggestions, we'll implement those changes immediately if they make sense.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I didn't like this thing. I had to click 3 times on this thing, or like, why are you asking me this question? And then, we huddle up and like talk about it. I talk to people like Keith and customer service, and it's like, why didn't they like that? And then like, well, they didn't like it because of this. Does that make sense? Yeah, it does. We should change it. Okay, let's change it. That's the cool thing about being.
Can you give me an example of something like that?
It's a good question. Try to think. I guess I would just say like, if you take the time to think about it, like you can limit the number of things that you actually need to ask a customer and get all the information you need. And if you create it to where it's needlessly complicated, you start losing people and they'll just leave, especially for a newer company. They're just like, screw this, I'm out. Like, I'm going to go somewhere else.
Right.
But as far as like one in particular thing, I don't know if I have anything good for you at the moment. It's just general feedback about like, that was annoying. Like, I didn't like the way that was functioning. And then we'll like go in and make,
streamlining the process, making it simple.
Just like, we want, like Amazon's always worked toward like that one-click booking type model.
Yeah.
And, we're doing everything we can to get to like as few steps as possible and as simple as possible for the customer. Because at the end of the day, we're a tech company. And if we don't have the best tech, what are we doing?
Right.
Like, if we're not having the best experience possible, then why are we even here? Like, if we're not providing like real value to the trucker to where they're using our platform because they can get to our site easily. whether it's on truckparkingclub.com or on our apps that are rolling out, like how quickly can they get to the site and find the location they need and book? Like that's all they care about. Like our site, you look at our site now, and I know people watching this that don't know about us or look at our site and be like, what? It's like very simple. And it's like, that's by design. I can promise you we will never have like a very complicated, or even like flashy. It will just be as simple as possible. Because at the end of the day, just from feedback from truckers, like how quickly can I find the location I need and book?
Right.
That's
it.
At the end of the day, that's all we're doing. And how do you distill that to as simple as possible? So that's the focus. Like just, hyper focus on getting the trucker to what they need as quickly as possible. Because if we're doing that well, we're providing real value to the trucker, and we're making our platform just an added value to property members and truckers that are using the platform.
Got it. So simplicity may be one of your differentiators. What's another one? What makes you different than your other? Because there are other people in this space.
Yeah. No, and I think I pretty much know most of the guys, and they're all really good people. I knew some of them before I even started this company, and just great guys. I think, one of the things that we're really, really focused on is creating like instantly reservable truck parking throughout the US, where our truckers have the ability to know that there's 7 spaces available at this location, and that if they want to book 7 or less spaces, they can get those right now. Like not in 2 hours, like now. That's where
typically there's a little bit of a delay time.
From what I've seen from some platforms, like
Gotcha.
they're
What's the delay about? What are they waiting for? Confirmation or something?
I don't know. I've never worked in any of these other companies, so I don't know. I just
But that's a pain point you've heard of, just the lag in time.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's just like how quickly can you get this? So, like you said, finding truck parking should not even really be part of like one of the reasons why you don't want to do this job, but it actually ends up being one of the biggest reasons you don't do this job.
For sure.
So why wouldn't you, like working from that backwards, why wouldn't you want to know if there's 0 spaces available or 100 spaces available at this location, and know that if you book a space and it says that there's 100 spaces available, you got a space, right? Rather than looking at something and it's saying, we think there's parking available here.
Right.
That's like, okay, now the trucker's still in anxiety. Like, the trucker may not describe it as that, but they're still have this anxiety like, shit, I'm 30 minutes out. This says there might be truck parking there. I'm going to get there and see if there's truck parking. They don't have a phone number.
Yeah.
Or like they're not answering, or, I reserved a spot, but like, they're going to let me know. Like, okay. Like,
yeah, so what's missing from that model that makes that happen? What are they not doing that you guys are doing?
I don't know.
And you're not speaking on anybody in particular.
Yeah, I don't know what they're not doing.
Right. I'm just saying, like, why would that even be the case?
Honestly, I have no idea. I just.
And why is it not the case with you guys? What are you guys doing better? That's what I'm trying to get to.
I don't even know if it's doing anything necessarily like earth shattering. It's just like looking at the situation and saying, truckers want relief to know that they have truck parking as quickly as possible.
Right.
So if you work from that backwards, like first principles, you're essentially like, okay, what's the fastest way that we can solve that pain point? And it has nothing to do with the delay.
Got it.
Like it's always like, how quickly can you get your customer to truckparkingclub.com? And then once they get to truckparkingclub.com, actually be able to find like the location. Like if they're having trouble finding the location, then you've lost again. But if they can quickly get to like a map and get to their location and see and click the spot and within 2 minutes be booked, like mission accomplished. And know they have a space.
Right.
Like not book a space and then, they're 10 minutes out, but they may have to wait 2 hours to know that they have a space or whatever the case may be. It's just like you book, you get it. Like what? I I don't know. Like, I think the model with like, no, I think with like Airbnb, there is a delay, right? Like you book an Airbnb and like
You have
it takes
to wait
a
for them to reply.
Yeah, like no, you did not. No. Like it's a different concept though, right?
Yeah.
Like Airbnb, like people book in advance. Like
Right.
this is like people are like 10 minutes away.
Right.
Like
True.
yeah,
I mean, with Airbnb, sometimes it's automated like right away, and then sometimes you have to wait like an
Yeah.
hour for them to respond. Or
yeah,
whatever.
it's different, kind of a different business, right?
Yeah,
but like
it
my
is.
point just being like with trucking, like they're 10 minutes out.
So you're saying on your side that the space you on your side, you know that this space is 100% available, and if it's not 100% available, it shouldn't even be an option.
It should say 0 spaces.
It should say 0 spaces. That would be the difference, right? Like it's
Yeah.
not like a maybe, perhaps, we'll see.
Yeah, yeah.
If it's not available for sure, it's not even there.
Yeah.
So what
that,
you
I
see,
mean, that kind of makes sense to me.
what
Does
you
that-
see is what you get. Like it
Yeah.
should. I would say so, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like rocket science.
No,
Right?
not
It's
at all.
like think about what the trucker wants. They want to know there's parking.
Yeah.
Like, and if there's not parking, they want to know there's not parking.
right.
Like outside of that, it's not much more complicated than that. And then, like, yeah. I mean, we don't have to make these things like. I think if you truly are customer centric, like that's just an obvious thing to do. Like, I think maybe part of it is like it's security for you because then you can have more locations because you can just say like that they're like we have
You make the platform look bigger than it is.
you get it. Yeah. So that you say like, oh, we have 1,000 locations, but then when you actually start looking at it, like 20 of them are instantly reservable. So that those 20 people are actually sold on your product. The other people want you to like connect with them and say, hey, do you actually have space available right now? Well, no, we don't.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let them know.
Got
You know
it.
what I mean? So like the people that actually are sold on you and your product, like will make the location instantly reservable. And we will literally not put locations on our platform if they're not. If they don't want to do that, we just say, well, you're going to have a lot of problems because we have truckers book 5 minutes before they show up. So we think either you can come a little our way or you're just not a good fit for our platform, which sucks. Like we don't want that, obviously. But if you can't, if a property member can't make their location instantly reservable, like
Are your property members able to put their spots on other platforms?
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. In the beginning, I was just like, no, we want to keep it. Like, no, whatever. It's
Got
fine. I'm not worried about it. Let's just like at the end of the day, like provide as much value as possible to the trucker. And to do that, like you think about like, why does Priceline and Expedia and the other 10
Orbits.
like they're all providing value to the customer. Like, and at the end of the day, who wins? Customer.
Customer. Right.
So I think about it the same way. And then like,
sure.
I know you believe in this. Like, it's a big world, right? U.S. is a great market for anything logistics. You just got to go out and get it. And that's the same. Like, that's exactly how I think about it. Like, it's a free market. Let's just let it be free. And like, we're not going to stifle people from like other people doing business. Like, just let's see who can provide the most value. And in a free market and capitalism, like those companies win, the ones that provide the most value. And then it's like the trucker wins. So it's all
Yeah.
good.
What's your strongest market? What area?
Probably the Southeast because of Keith. Just inherently, like organically, it became that way. But I would say outside of that, we're like out west, like we're getting like an odd amount of people, like especially like that Ontario area.
Mm-hmm.
We initially had one customer, but now we just had like I can't actually go to any details, but like we've had multiple people in that area now reach out. So West Coast, which is kind of crazy to think about. I never thought that would be the case. But Southeast is like people are adopting it like crazy quickly.
Got it.
Like people just create a location on their platform. I've never heard of them. I know nothing about them. But then you go in and vet them and they're a trucking company that's got some extra space. And you're like, awesome. Like glad to have you on the platform. So Southeast, but we had a bit of a great, head start in the beginning, and that's just like grown on top of itself, and seems like we're like just going up the East Coast. We were talking to some people in New Jersey right now, and that's another great market, obviously, for it that needs it. So yeah, up the East Coast has been good. But man, we have a lot of work to do. I wouldn't even.
It keeps on evolving. Are you able to share how many property members you guys have now on the platform?
Yeah, it's all public. Here's another thing. Like, I hate it's like these like paywalls and like sign in walls where you're like, you can't see our platform until you like come and like create an account, and that's just another way to like boost user numbers. It's like all kind of fake, but you can go right on our platform like when you're watching this and count how many there are. Hopefully there's more than there are once this drops, but I think we're at 50 something, 52, 50 something. We get new locations. It seems like we're tacking right now at about every second day we're adding a new location. So some days we may get 2, and then we'll go a day and then get 2 more or whatever. But it's just kind of like going like that. Yeah, it's all organic. We're not like, people ask a lot, like, are you marketing to Chicago? No, like we just like get the word out there.
Yeah,
like we come talk to cool people like you, and we get on, get in articles, or we go talk to people, and the word gets out. And like, we want people on the platform that genuinely think we're providing them value.
For sure. And how do you guys make money?
So we're a revenue share model. Okay. So what we term it is a performance-based model, where if we don't make the property member money, then we don't make money. So we're not charging them money to be on the platform. There's not any fees associated, like application fees or anything like that. It's just like, we'd love to have you on the platform. And if we make you money, we'd like to get a cut of it. And, our payment processor just divides everything out on a agreed upon fee. And,
is it different for every property member, or is it just like a straight fee across the board?
Yeah, so I would say just like we have like a generic starting fee that the majority of our customers have, because they have 5 spaces in their trucking company. So they're not in the truck parking business, and we essentially handle their whole back end.
Right.
For like customer service, pre-booking, marketing for their property, reservation management, all the tech that goes into it. We kind of have all that covered. And a trucking company that's not in truck parking that actually wants to monetize their space, that's another employee to like handle that.
Got it.
It's actually, it's essentially a new business if they want to do it well. So for them, we have a generic, not generic, but just like a standard rate. And then we have people that put hundreds and hundreds of spaces in great locations all throughout the US. And for them, they're like giving us such a big opportunity that we obviously give them a better rate. I mean, I would be crazy to not, want that business.
So it's negotiable.
Yeah.
Based on your size, where your business is at, and what what value you bring to the platform.
Yeah. And also I would say what the property member's doing. Like, is it just like a dirt lot that like, I don't know if we even have any dirt lots, but like, it's like a lot that's just like a lot, and like you're not doing anything as a property member, and it's just like there. It's like no amenities, like not the best place to park. Like, we talk with the property member about that, and we're like, hey man, like don't have a lot for the trucker here, so we don't, it's kind of is what it is. Yeah. So we consider that too. So like just still like trying to stay like customer centric about like what's the actual experience that the trucker's going to have when they get there. So yeah, like you said, it's negotiable. We just talk through it, and we talk very openly. Like, it's not like the last thing I want is like hard negotiations on this.
No, I got you. I got you. Talk to me about your goals and revenue projections for the upcoming year.
Gotcha. Yeah. Like, we're not giving out like numbers of users or anything like that. It's just like, I'll just shoot you straight. It's not like anything impressive at this point. Talk to me in 12 months, and I think it will be impressive. But at this point, it's like meh. But I would say like,
you guys are a startup.
Yeah, I mean, we technically incorporated in November of last year, and we're a 6-figure company now. Like, then I don't know, like we got our first booking in January of this year.
Okay.
And we're like our 6-figure revenue company now, and our growth rate is like, we'll say triple digit % month over month over month.
Got it.
So in growth.
Trend in the right way.
Yeah. But I mean, we have so much work to do. Like, this is just the very beginning. Like, it's, we're continuing to learn about the business. Like, there's things that we do in the business now that I never would have predicted. Like, that you're just like, wow, that's interesting. I didn't even know that the customer would want that, or like think about that, or like, we're dropping the ball over here. We need to improve this part of the experience.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What's your day-to-day look like as CEO, co-founder?
So yeah, just, run the ship. But day to day, like, it's, to be honest, it's like 15-hour days, 7 days a week, like whatever it takes. Like, this is all I think about. But I've done enough of starting companies that I know that's what's required. Like, there's no other way to do it. I mean, I guess there is. Like, you could go on the 10-year path and like hang out and like, make a lifestyle business. But we have very big goals. And, my co-founder and I like have already been successful in our respective businesses. So we're not in this for like the, like bump up a company and make, some 7-figure exit. Like, no interest in that at all. Like,
no interest in an exit at any point?
No, I guess I'm trying to say, like, we were just in like a super hot market for tech and things. And like, there was like offers going out like for these like relatively new companies. And my point is like, I don't want to like build this company up. I don't want to build this company up and then get like, some 7-figure offer and then just like unload it and like go on.
Got it.
I'm sorry I wasn't very clear about that, but our goals are to create a great company that achieves, having a network of truck parking locations all across the US. And the like looking for like this exit or like building up a company to like make a quick buck, like no interest at all. Like, I want to create something great, like genuinely that is built right and provides real value. And whatever that is, we really want to accomplish the goal of creating, like I said, a network across the US of instantly available daily and monthly truck parking that you can have on one platform, being truckparkingclub.com. Like, that is the ultimate goal. And like, my overarching point here is like, it's not about the money. Yeah. Like, I know everyone says that, it's cliche, but like, I've made some dollars doing other stuff. Like, this is a really cool business and I love it and it's my baby, and we're gonna grow this thing. And let's talk in 3 years and let's see where we're at. I think we can accomplish that goal. Because like, at the end of the day, like, if you made a little money like doing these other things, you realize it's just it's cliche again, but it's just like the growth. Like, that's the stuff that gets you up. Like, working the 15-hour days, the 100-hour weeks, like, the growth is intoxicating. Like, it's a drug. To like, just like make a quick buck on a sale 12 months down the road, not interested at all.
Got it. Free to all drivers, right? They could join the platform for free.
What is it?
The drivers, carriers, they could join the platform for free, and free to be a property member as well, right?
Yeah, it's all.
Just cost you your email.
Yeah. Essentially, you sign up, and you have to sign up to create a listing, and you have to sign up to create a booking.
Yep.
We actually was thinking about like, making it as frictionless as possible. You know how like these like paid mobile, pay by phone, like mobile car parking, like payments where you don't like sign in or anything. You just like scan a QR and you're like pay.
The less signing in you got to do, the better, man.
I know. And I was like getting crazy about it. I was like, how could we just like scan your face and like pay for this thing? Which, like, But then we started to realize like you do have to like ask for some information.
I mean, you have to be able to communicate with your users some way.
Yeah, and trucking is a little bit different than like parking your car for 2 hours.
Right.
So we realized like maybe you can't get it that simple, but you can get it pretty simple.
Yeah, maybe you get close to it.
Well, for people that create an account and have booked before, we will do that.
Okay.
But for like brand new people,
Right.
like you there is a certain like amount of information that we do.
And you have people who are on people's property and so forth and so on. So there has to be some sort of
it's like booking Airbnb for the first time with like it gets a little
you
weird.
have no idea who's there.
It gets a little weird.
It get a little bit weird for sure.
Yeah.
All right, cool, man. Did we miss anything? I feel like we talked about the business pretty thoroughly.
Yeah.
Understand who you are as an entrepreneur. Is there anything else that you want to put out about Truck Parking Club that I didn't have an opportunity to ask? Any features or anything like that that's important, maybe relevant to the community?
No, I would just say like for people out there that are interested, go to truckparkingclub.com or you can just call. I mean, we have a direct number. I guess that's another thing I didn't mention was I would say we're adopting booking over the phone as well.
Okay.
Because what we started realizing was we have these truckers call all the time. Like, I'm driving. And then actually the lady that's running our customer service is a former trucker. And she also actually booked on truckparkingclub.com, one of our first customers to book, which is insane. And she actually, because of everything going on in the trucking business, she got out of the business, her and her husband. And she was looking for a job. And like we were still talking because I called her like talk about the site. Because at this point I was like talking to customers like more than once about, she's like, yeah, I'm looking for a job. I went down to CDL school. I was like, you're really good over the phone. Like you should join, like you should come on as customer service. And then like a few weeks later.
That's cool.
Yeah. And so she convinced me. She's like, Evan, you're losing a lot of business by not taking bookings over the phone.
I think that's a great idea.
And then now we get a lot of bookings over the phone.
Yeah.
And like idea. So
these
essentially
days you can't get anybody on the phone. It's terrible.
Yeah. And you know, I understand why that's the case, because it's like the argument is like, well, it's not scalable. Go to the website and book. And that's how I was in the beginning. I'm like, just go to the website and book. I know it works. But then some people are like, I'm driving. Like I'm gonna have to pull over, or I'm gonna have to wait to get there. And like, the new alternative was like, let's just book you over the phone. I can tell you right now, there's 4 spaces available at this location on your route that you want to, in the area that you want to stop at. They're like, okay, sounds good. And like, they've already found us somewhere. And we'll take the booking over the phone, which is something we didn't get to talk about, but yeah, 888-899 park, which is 7275. Okay. You can call right there, like call right now.
Anytime.
And yeah, you could call and book over the phone right now, which in the beginning I was super skeptical. I was like, Tracy, are you sure? Are you sure we should be doing this? But a lot of users, a lot of truckers really appreciate it. And like if our goal is to really provide value to the trucker, even though maybe it doesn't make like scalable sense necessarily, but if it's what is required to provide the most value, then it just kind of is what it is, right?
I'm with it. I like it. I like it. Final thought, man. We just now let everybody know where they can connect with you in this show. It's tradition that we also always give a final thought. It could be entrepreneurial or entrepreneurial, spiritual, just a little gem you want to leave the audience with, and then we'll wrap up and get out of here.
Yeah, it's I'm gonna say, I literally didn't even think about this before we got here. No, it's kind of funny. Like I was watching one of your podcasts the other day. I was like, I need to think of what I'm gonna say, and then but I got one for you because we kind of talked about it. Where I mentioned about like calling someone on that you just saw on CNBC. Like I've talked to so many people, especially like new entrepreneurs, that they're like, no, you can't just like call somebody that you see on the TV. And I'm like all I would say is like, yeah, you can. Like you 100% can. Like you can reach out to those people that you think are like above you at this point in your life. But like I'm telling you, if you provide a little bit of value to them and show that you're thoughtful and diligent in like the conversation that you're wanting to have with them, like those types of things that I've done that some people, you know, would consider very crazy, like, is the reason that, you know, I've had some of the successes I've had up to this point. It's just making the call. You know, make the call, make the email, you know, and those types of relationships, if you're truly reaching out to these people for the right reasons, like, you'd be very surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a jewel. All right, Hustle fam. If you don't respect that, your whole perspective is whack, man. This has been a dope conversation, man. I enjoy learning about the business. I'm looking forward to seeing the growth over the next couple months to next couple years. Definitely got to circle back and see where you guys are at. You know, I love the story, man. I love the entrepreneurial spirit, the hustle, all that good stuff. And I wish you tons of luck.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
For sure. So if you, what's our saying now? Hustle fam, if you smell something burning, it's getting dark. See, I'm getting dreary. If you smell something burning, it's only your desire. I'm here with my man, Evan Shelley, Truck Parking Club. Thank you very much for joining us, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
We are out.
If you twisted, confused, or stuck about trucks, don't be dumb. This is the place to come. Truck and hustle. Let's go.